I haven't stopped having people and forgetting that I was recording shit. But I wanted to ask you, what kind of video should I record next? Like, what should I talk about? Hi, humans. Well, LuvzxNxKissez is going to respond to me in a second, I feel, telling me what I should make a video about, so I'm going to share that with you. I'm sorry, I keep touching my boobs. They've gotten really big lately. Like, just out of nowhere. Like, just solidly large and in charge, and that's not normal for me. I was under the impression for a long time that I had small boobs. Hold on. LuvzxNxKissez back.
Another favorite part was when the slime ate the chicken and the horror, like, washed over your face. Like, you can't believe you just let that happen. And, oh my gosh, hi! Give me a second. I'll think of something.
Yeah, no, I played Slime Rancher, which I just posted up today, and she was just telling me about how entertaining I am, essentially, which is great, because I need somebody to like that video. Take your time. We're not waiting. You're fine. We're just chilling, you know, me and my camera and, you know, possibly people. But yeah, no, out of nowhere, I feel like that my boobs got bigger. And I used to think that I was like an A cup until I went out shopping with a friend of mine because we were getting ready for this gala. And because I go to galas, I'm kind of like a big deal, but I'm not. I'm just around. We go to this bra, like little bitty bra shop in like a corner because they only have, they only carry larger sizes because my friend is a large size chest. And so we go and she gets measured and I was like, can you just measure me for the sake of measuring me? And she like, the woman measures me and she's like, what size bra are you wearing? And I was like maybe a small B, if not a big A. And she was like, sweetheart, you're a C and not a small C. And I was like, what? Like, this was all news to me. It was very exciting for me, who thought I was part of the itty bitty titty committee.
Just don't show my face. I'm not wearing any makeup and I have my hair all pulled up because I've been cleaning. Don't look at me.
It's okay, I haven't been showing your face. I've been showing just mine. Just mine. Hi, keyboard. I realize I can't show myself and not. Oh fuck, my face is fucked up. Yeah, so I have bigger boobs than I thought. It's very exciting. It's now one of my better assets. But my ass is my best asset. Also my eyes. I think my eyes are very pretty. Very pretty eyes.
Okay, so personally, I think one thing that was really interesting that you had brought up between us when we were doing that collaboration together was with the psychic stuff. Like, you talked about the toe reading thing and just how you were involved, and I was fascinated, and I thought that would be cool if you had details of that.
Looks like I'm gonna make that video, so I guess I'm gonna make that video. I'm glad that we did that. Hold on, there's more.
Because I think I remember you mentioning the psychic stuff in one of your other videos too, but I don't think you went into detail of it, and I don't know, I thought that would be a fascinating part to learn about you.
Alright, it'll be a perfect cap to me talking about how my boobs got bigger, so I think that is a good transition. Alright, so loves have spoken. I'm going to talk about that. Oh, she still has more.
I was going to be like, hey viewers, stick your toes at the screen, I'll read your toes.
That's so smart.
No, that'd be fascinating. I don't mind if you do my psychic reading one day, you know.
Dude, that's so smart. Like, oh my god, I should totally do that. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Ah! That's how I'll get views, right? Sweet. Well, now that we've had that out of the way, let me talk about toe reading. Okay, I don't know what I have or have not told you. Ooh, okay, just keep going. Yay! Get it all the way around. Hi. Alright, so I don't know what I have or have not talked to you about toe reading, but I used to be part of a spiritual community where I met this man who was a toe reader, and he fascinated me. So I had sat through 5 toe readings and then myself with this man. And he was reading all my friends' toes, and then he read mine. And I was so engaged. And in my mind, I was like, God, this sounds like such a great thing, because everything that happens in your life happens for a reason, and it has to get recorded somewhere, and it has to be recorded on your soul. So why not the sole of your foot? Right. So I turned around to him and said, I think I can do this. And he like kind of chuckled at me. But what he didn't know, and what I ended up telling him after that, was that I had gone to my boyfriend at the time and decided that I was going to read his toes. So I just randomly like made this decision, right? Random conscious choice of mine, where I sat down with him and started reading his toes and was telling him things that he didn't want to hear, because he turned around to me and pulled his feet away from me and said, I don't like that you're telling me things that I've never told anybody and that you're accurate. And that freaked me out, because I was like, what the fuck? So I then turned around to the man that I learned toe reading from and said, hey, I would like to learn because this is what I'm excited about. And I happen to think that I'd be good at it. So he immediately took me under his wing, right? He was very excited about this. And we trained for a good 3 months, it feels like. Like every time I went to a service at my spiritual community, he had me read people's toes. He had me read other people's toes. He had me take pictures of toes and write down what I thought they meant and show him. And like, there's this whole process. And so let me explain toe reading for a second. So what it is where you look at people's toes and features of their toes, and you can discern things through reflexology and through having an open connection to whatever source, universe, whatever you're connected to. So with me, I very much try to explain what it is that I see. So if I see a specific line on your toe, I will say something along the lines of like, about the age of, because I'll find out what your age is, because you'll tell me and be like, okay, so around the age of 10, some incident happened, and if there's certain inflammation, I can discern if it was a good incident or a bad incident that changed the direction of which you're walking now, and you will have decided that you were going to focus only on your future, only on your past, and I can see things like that. I can also kind of tell if you have past lives, but that's its own thing. It's not as important, at least to me, because I can't tell you anything about them. I can just say that you've had them. But I can sit there and tell you about your communication styles and about how you'll react to certain things and whether or not you trust people or yourself or how you are financially. I can find these things out by looking at your toes and having somewhat your reactions to things, which is pretty cool. And so it hit a point where he was having me tested on people that were in the spiritual center that we were at, and it hit the day where he turned around and he was like, all right, you're having your final. And I was like, what, there's a final? And he pulled out his feet and he said, read my toes. And that, of course, intimidated the shit out of me, because I was like, I'm reading the master's toes kind of thing, because he had learned from the woman that created toe reading, and I had learned from him, so I was only like second generation, which is pretty cool. So I did well, and he actually had me go to like a psychic conference with him, and I read toes beside him and made money off of it. So technically I get paid for this. I don't do it very often because I don't tell people about it anymore, because it became like a silly party trick, and that bothered me, because there's a real art to it, and there should be a real respect to toe reading, in my opinion. But it is an interesting quirk that I have, that I can do that. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, if you don't know what that is, where it's you open yourself to the energy of the universe and it passes through your head and out through your hands. So essentially it's like healing hands is kind of the thing that you could think about, but that's not what we're talking about today. But it's a nice thing to know about. But with toe reading, I've done some talks about it in like classes and things like that, and I've proven myself over and over again with it, right? I've read a lot of people's toes, and a lot of people are pretty darn shocked when I read their toes. And there's always those skeptics that are like, oh no, you're wrong. And which is fine. I could totally be wrong. I could totally be creating this shit out of nowhere. Sometimes I feel like I'm making it up. But one of the questions that I get frequently asked is, do you ever read your own toes? And that's kind of like a big no-no. You don't read your own toes. And that's mainly because of the fact that you know yourself and you know what it is, and you can overanalyze certain things. So it's better for me to read somebody else's toes to discern how they lead their lives, and so I can help guide them to lead a better life. Because a lot of people are walking outside of their path, outside of what they want to be doing with their life, whether they put themselves in that purpose or whether or not somebody else put themselves that way. So a lot of the time, and it's mainly typical, where I'll see that a toe is kind of skewed a certain way, I'll have this realization of like, this person is forced into this life, and it's not the life they need, it's not the life they want, and here's the thing about feet. They change. Like, your feet and your toes will change and will move. And you can correct yourself. And if you keep yourself in a mindful area, you can definitely put yourself in a better light and better path for yourself, which is always really great. And that's always something that when I read, I'm trying to help you find the better you and the better path for you, because I want your soul to be as perfect as it can be for you. So when I do the reading, it's not for me. It's not to prove to myself that I can do it. It's to talk to you and help you get to a certain point in your life. Because what's the point, right? If you live a life and don't get something meaningful out of it, or if you're living in a life that's not something that you want and you just need that little push for somebody to say to you, like, hey, I don't think this is what you want. Because sometimes that's all it takes, is somebody to notice that, hey, you aren't happy, and people closest to you don't know that. Let me recognize that you're unhappy with what's going on in your life, and let me help you get to that point where you can decide that you want to go and move on. So, things like that. Got real deep. But yeah, tarot reading's a thing that I do.
You know what? Forget my ideas then. Just talk about boobs. That's perfect! I'm funny. That's what I'm here for. All the ideas. You're welcome. Da-da-da, however that Dwayne Johnson song goes, da-da, you're welcome.
I love Moana. That was a good job. But yes, I will leave it at that then. If you have more questions, or if you want to send me pictures of your feet, I can definitely give you a impromptu reading. I would need the front of your toes, like this, like this. So, and I would need it'd be 2 pictures. So it'd be your toes regular, and then your toes as far apart as you could get them. But that's only if you guys want to do that. I won't force you. But yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Rawr means I love you, and dinosaurs are Rawr. And thank you for hanging out with me today.